It is the Friday, 10th of March 2023 is the date today, and we are counting down to the end of 2023. I know some of you might be saying it's too early for you to say to the end, but look at the way time has been flying. Just soon we were celebrating the festive season and of course the January of 2023, and now we are in March, going into April. So we are thankful that we are alive this morning, and we are going to be having a powerful conversation with regards to the Lusaka-Ndola dual carriageway. Will the small and medium local contractors take a cake from that project? We will be talking about that on the program later on, but this morning we are also going to have other activities. Unfortunately, we couldn't have the morning boost and the doctor's corner due to one or two technical issues, but of course we will continue to have them going forward next week. So I am your host this morning, Prudence Chota, and I will be taking you through to this program. Pardon me, my bad voice. I'm having a bit of irritation of a flu. I know it's that time when, you know, flu becomes so adamant to an extent where you take all the kind of medication, but they don't want to respond. I hope our doctors can one day address why this is the case when certain times we do have flus that are stubborn and stuff like that. So before I bore you much with the talking, we are going to go directly into our money market to see how is it that our local currency is performing against other major convertibles before we can zoom into some of the stories that made headline. Remember, this show is also live on our Facebook page. You can follow us there, leave us messages and contributions that you have to make with regards to the topic of discussion this morning. Also, this platform gives you an opportunity to call, make those submissions and contributions. Remember, the solution to what is happening in the country, I emphasize when I come on this program, lies in you, the viewer, who's watching this particular program. You might never know. You might have the solution. And when you call, make those submissions, contributions, the policymakers are listening. They might just adapt your idea. So if you feel you have to participate on the program, don't hold on, just call and let's get to have a conversation. So right about now, we are going to see how is it that our local currency is performing against other major convertibles. I know a lot of stakeholders, among them CSOs, have started raising concerns with regards to the kwacha, the fact that the debt restructuring issue has taken longer than we anticipated, and this might have an effect even on the 1.4 billion US dollar that we were given by the International Monetary Fund. My director, let's see the money market. That's the money market for this morning. So the Zambian kwacha against the Great British Pound this morning, as of 10th March 2023, is buying at 23 kwacha 82 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 29 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the US dollar is buying at 20 kwacha and selling at 20 kwacha 39 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the euro is buying at 21 kwacha 15 ngwe. It's selling at 21 kwacha 57 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 07 ngwe. It's selling at 1 kwacha 10 ngwe. That is the money market for today, Friday, 10th of March 2023. Kwacha there against the US dollar, we've seen it trade around 19 to 20, but now it's trading between 20 to 21. A lot of factors have been put in place by the government to ensure that we tackle the issue of escalating depreciation of the local currency. We did see the Bank of Zambia increase the statutory reserve ratio by 2.5 percentage point, and then we also saw they tightened the monetary policy by 0.25 basis point. These are some of the measures they took to cater for that. I know the Zambia Research Policy Institute had a different suggestion for the government, saying, you know, you didn't have to really touch the statutory reserve ratio in a way of having to curtail the depreciation of the Zambian kwacha. They gave quite a number of factors and, of course, other alternatives that the government can look to. But Dr. Denny Kadianja, the Bank of Zambia governor, did not agree with us with the contribution made by the Zambia Institute of Policy Analysis and Research. And the Bank of Zambia did say the measures they've taken are the best. And, of course, they did invite ZIPA to maybe go to the Bank of Zambia and just make their argument known. Perhaps it might be a solution. So we don't know what is happening with regards to the depreciation of our local currency, but we just hope our leaders all the best even as they table these issues. Remember what we always say, when Zambia fails, when the current administration fails, we have all felt as Zambian, as US citizen, if we begin to laugh at them that they failed, then we are not helping. So the best you can do is call, make those contributions and submissions, and the policymakers are listening. What you have might just be what we need to make this country flourish. Yesterday, on a sad note, we are going to go directly into zooming in the headline. 2 pupils from Chivolia Combined School in Lusaka died, while 3 others were nursing injuries after they were hit by an overtaking motor vehicle belonging along Ben Bella Road of Chivolia compound. So one of the mother to the surviving victims, identified as Rachel Kazumba, says she wants justice to prevail in the matter, adding that it is alleged that the suspect is a police officer who was drunk at the time of the accident. Meanwhile, police deputy spokesperson Danny Mwale has confirmed the development and has named the suspect as 31-year-old Mwila Conrad of Kamwala South, and says investigations in the matter have been instituted to establish if at all the suspect is indeed a police officer and what really transpired. So that was a sad note. Imagine waking up in the morning, sending your kids to school. They are in good shape. You have no idea of what may happen. A minute ago, you were seeing your child alive, and then an hour later, you hear your child has become a corpse. That is a very sad incident that happened in Lusaka, and we are cautioning those on the road. Can we please take responsibility on what we do? Have courtesy for other road users. This accident, trust me, could have been avoided. One, if this particular person was not in a drunkard state and while driving. That's why they say do not drink and drive. And then this accident could have also been ignored if the driver exercised even a little patience, because he was trying to overtake where it was not even necessary to overtake. So we are going to zoom into that story that made headline in our news yesterday. Let's get to see the story that was found by Prudence Chota.
This is a crime scene where 5 pupils from Chivolia Combined School in Lusaka were Thursday morning hit by an overspeeding vehicle that was trying to overtake other vehicles. 2 of the victims have lost their lives, while 3 others have sustained injuries and have been admitted at Kanyama General Hospital. Among those who have died is a grade 11 pupil, and his family has been left devastated as they never expected their son, who left home in good shape, could become a cop in less than an hour. And some of the pupils and residents of Kanyama spoken to have narrated what transpired and says that the suspect, who has been identified as Mwila Conrad of Lusaka's Kamwala South, was in the company of a female folk and that they were both drunk.
Kumbali baenda aveni motoka manje yaluzinga control drivers okolera. So nje kungena manje kuli bana ba school ambacho kubunga shechibunke bunke. Nze speed abaluzina control driver dabacha chambo kunga batoka machoka mtama akamwendera kumbali, so abamubunga manje bana ba school first kumbuyo abataba paki na choka driver bila taba na girlfriend nze elimu pa abawasi yabaja abantu benza bunga bataba benda chikine moto kwa pesa muva muzolunga chemuva mnani moto
nani mungu washutiwa bati babungiwa kuli moto bati angana kusokolo kuli moto ka black nokutamanga moto ka black uza weze moto ka black tamugwira tabwa naye taona bantu bazamuchita ngampaye.
And mother to one of the victims, identified as Rachel Kazumba, is not happy that despite the heavy police presence who have mounted roadblocks across the city, a drunkard was allowed to be on the road and has called for justice to prevail in the matter.
Lefa watu wafuirisheko sana mo especially kuma drivers abaresha imyoto kana abakorwa cause tumfira ti drive yacu banakorwa and then achira fo kubutuka bati uwa track wachisa mkumuchingirisha trefa government roleteshepo sana ukoesha moto kana umuntu nakorwa and then achwa no mwana kashi imyeho shaona ola abana nono sana bana bano bandi ba grade 12 kwatu yo basenda nombali ni batwala kumocha ni grade 11.
Another witness has explained that the suspect is alleged to be a police officer and wants justice to be served. And police deputy spokesperson Danny Mwale has confirmed the such development to Camnet News and says the suspect is currently in police custody but could not state whether he is a police officer as he was not in his uniforms. Mr. Mwale has since assured that investigations into the matter have been instituted. Beatrice Chabaya, Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it. That was one of the story done by Prudence Chota yesterday that made headline in our news. A very sad incident there where 5 school-going children were hit by an overtaking and overspeeding, because I know when you're overtaking, you begin to overspeed. Driver who was unfortunately in a drunkard state. This also gives me a lot of questions to ask. Are our men and women in uniform doing the right thing to prevent accidents on the road? If you realize, if you've been around Lusaka Central Business District, we have seen quite a number of roadblocks that have been mounted where police officers are checking for expired fitness and things like that. And of course, they are looking at also the welfare of drivers who are on the road. And then this particular incident, if you see where the incident happened, just few meters from there, there is a police checkpoint that has been mounted just by Chibolia there. There is that Kanyama police post. I don't know if it's called Kanyama, if it's called Chibolia. And police officers are right at that particular point. And this person passed through that police checkpoint before they made a cave where they hit those 5 children. So the question that we should be asking ourselves is, are police officers doing the right thing on the road in as much as they are trying to mount as many roadblocks as they have? If you've passed through Central Business District in Lusaka and other places, you would agree with me that we have police presence everywhere. But on this particular incident, this person in his drunkard state, he was with a woman, and in a car, according to the witnesses, there were a lot of bottles of alcohol. So how did he manage to bypass the roadblock and not be detected by those police officers who were just, I think, few meters from where the accident happened? What could be the issue here? I know others were alleging that the man involved in this particular incident is a police officer. That's the information we got. But when we inquired with the police, they said they are not sure because this particular person was not in a uniform. When he's in a uniform, it's easy to identify that he's an officer, but he was not in a uniform, and so they are doing investigations to find out if he's a police officer, at which station is he coming from, and why at that particular time was he not working, but instead in a drunkard state. So that is a sad state of affair there. Maybe you can add your voice to this particular discussion. Why is it that we've continued to see drivers consuming alcohol on the road? This is not the only driver I've seen. I think even bus drivers, those who use buses, you agree with me that in most incidences, our drivers are taking alcohol. And if you see the way drivers behave on the road, a person who's in their normal state cannot behave the way we've been seeing drivers behave on the road. So you realize that most of the time, drivers will be exchanging that small bottle with their conductor and they are consuming alcohol. And most of the time, as passengers, we just overlook that. But we have a lot of police officers on our road. So the question is, what is our men and women in uniform doing wrong? Because in anything, you can't have an incident where a few meters from where a police checkpoint is, an accident happened, and it is to realize that the person involved is actually in a very drunk state, to an extent where if police officers at the roadblock saw his state, they couldn't have allowed him to continue. Can it be actually true that this person is a police officer and he found his way of bypassing the checkpoint? So we can't be having all these police roadblocks that have actually been mounted yesterday, today, and the day before, and then we are seeing that kind of accidents continue to happen. So there was a negligence, I think, on the part of our officers on the road that I will not dive into, I will not argue myself out, but I do believe there was a bit of negligence by our men and women in uniform. We love you, our men and women in uniform, and all we want is you to protect us as a Zambian citizen, because that is the only way we can coexist. We don't want a situation where officers are just concentrating on finding those who have been found breaking the law, but but in the actual sense, they are not looking at protecting the lives of people, because I know most of the time our officers are very aggressive when they find that you have done something wrong on the road. I saw quite a number yesterday getting into vehicles and arresting those who did not have some particular issues, but I wonder how they paid a blind eye to this particular person, and it resulted in a death of 2 pupils while 3 others are nursing injuries. So that were some of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. Another story coming from Garden Compound. A mother of Garden Compound in Lusaka has been left in a dire situation as a 7-year-old son is suffering dog bite wound while a 17-year-old son is in police custody after he allegedly assaulted the dog owner who was reportedly being uncooperative after the incidents. Speaking to Camnet News, mother to the 7-year-old boy, Nazunga Chulu, states that the dog attacked her son, Emmanuel Kaleshi, on Sunday, 5th March, ripping off a chunk of his thigh and going for his neck before she was able to kick it out. So this is one of the stories that made his headline yesterday. And I don't know why we've continued to record dog bite incidences. If you do follow Camnet TV, actually, you will realize that this is not the first story that we are carrying on this particular topic. This should be maybe the 4th or 5th story where victims of dog bites are not actually being assisted by the owners of this dog. So the question that we should be asking this morning is, why have we continued to see a number of dog bites? And why is it that our authorities are not acting in this particular incident? So let's get to see that story that also made headline in our news. But remember, at 08 hours, we will be accompanied by a guest who will be joining us in studio, where we are discussing the Lusaka Ndola Dual Carriageway. Will the small and medium contractors get a cake from that particular development? So right about now, let's zoom into this story that made headline in our news yesterday.
The Dog Control Act in Zambia mandates dog owners to keep their pets under control at all times to ensure that they do not cause a public nuisance, harm to lives, or damage to property. The situation in most Zambian communities is a far cry from this, as dogs are usually left loose by their owners and are not constrained, causing a danger to citizens. This has led to reports of dog attacks in communities, with the dog owners reportedly being uncooperative, stories that have been carried by Camnet News. The latest incident is from Garden House Compound in Lusaka, where a mother of a 7-year-old boy identified as Emmanuel Kaleshi narrates that her son was bitten by a dog in the community on Sunday, 5th March 2023, adding that the family has not received help from Plainview Police Post where the matter was reported.
Nabana banga ni mawaya socha nina bana bali 5 bamuna bantu bali koti bamuna banga nasiana mu 2017 choka hapo momene banaendera nikalipe kubaona ku futi choka 2017 na ntuna olonamba nilibe yao nilibe sinzi wakomene banaenda kana wanaenda kutikaya.
She narrates that the dog owner has been uncooperative and has refused to help in buying medicine for her son, a situation which has worsened after he was assaulted by the woman's 17-year-old son after the incident, adding that her son is now in police cells.
Ujamwine wa garu anatamangira kwa anti ndine onyacho chani chai yai pagaru kuni kumuruma mwana sorry naziona kuna panga mistake garu sinachitebwa sina ibadilire na nipase kwa mapepa ya garu chitebwanje niende nayo anakamba kuti ilibe mapepa so ndemo amene nachitira chani paja ine nienda sobaja bana manga wanakamba ati igaru pase mapepa ya garu mama ndo dara kliniki so jamwine wakanamba kupanga ndota zija na kuyamba kumpushashani kumenya mbama mwana wanga so mwana wanga na eve na kumugweza kumamchashi baka pamulomo kwa bora pangambika hapa so mamtunga stitches kasi abiri chini mozi naona kuja mwana nikati ku kliniki nikati kulembesa kliniki nambera phone ati mwana kuno mamutenga aliko maseuzi.
Meanwhile, Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale has taken an interest in the matter, stating that the dog owner will be held accountable for the attack. With the prevailing dog situation in communities, it is incumbent upon the local authorities to ensure that dog owners abide to stipulated regulations. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it, a very sad incident there where a 7-year-old was attacked by the dog. And in the process, his elder brother was not happy because the owner of the dog was not cooperating. In the process, he ended up assaulting the son to the owner of that particular dog, and the matter has now changed. When they go to the police, actually, them themselves are the ones who are being told your son assaulted someone, and we are going to ensure that trial is taken in this matter. She asked them if at all they can sit down and talk, but the police officer said no. And according to the police, this particular person is connected, of course, to some named big fishes in the police. So as a result, the mother to that child has not been assisted with any medication. Out of the 6 injections she was supposed to buy for her son, she's only managed to buy 1 because she's not able to afford the remaining ones. And of course, she's been moving up and down trying to have her son released from police. She's been told she needs to go with someone to sign bond for her son, but she doesn't have any surety in this particular case. Today is the 5th day that her son has been in jail, and police officers are not cooperating. Instead, they do not pay attention to the dog bite on her son, but they are paying attention to the attack our elder son did on the dog owner. I know sometimes justice should be left to the authority, and I know that particular boy in this case was wrong to have gone and assaulted the landlord, the dog owner's son, but we also need help. Remember, this 7-year-old has been bitten by a dog, and the mother cannot afford to buy the medication. So that is one of the stories. So the mother was pleading to the relevant authorities out there to help her see how best they can table this issue. On another sad incident, 28 employees of Southern African Ferro Alloys Limited in Central Province have been diagnosed with manganese poisoning. According to the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, manganese toxicity can result in a permanent neurological disorder known as manganese, with symptoms that include trauma, difficulties in walking, and facial muscle spasms. This comes to light in Parliament when Chitambo constituency member of Parliament, remember Mutale, wanted to know if the government is aware of an outbreak of a strange disease that is causing patients to shake and become weak in Central Province. Acting Health Minister Brenda Tambatamba disclosed that government is aware of the disease, which she said is being caused by repeated exposure to manganese. She disclosed that an assessment on 281 Southern African Ferro Alloys Limited employees revealed that actually 771, representing 96.4% of the employees, had manganese above normal levels of manganese in their blood. She said the patients are being examined at the University Teaching Hospital in order to prescribe the way forward on the treatment. This is one sad story yesterday that we saw these employees, and our government says it is aware, but the question is how far would they go with this particular company and the victims who've been involved in this particular case. Remember, some of the victims of lead poisoning in Kabwe up to now have never been compensated, and the company that was behind that is somehow looking forward to come back on the Zambia market, and we hear they've already been given a leeway. But anyway, let me not say much. That is a story for another day. But at this particular point, allow us to zoom into this one of the story that made headline before we can allow our guests to settle in studio, and then we get discussing today's topic of discussion.
Well, it is not just lead poisoning that is affecting the people of Central Province, but manganese poisoning that is now posing serious environmental health problems in the area. During the question for oral answer session in Parliament, Chitambo constituency member of Parliament, Remember Mutale, wanted to know if the government is aware of an outbreak of a strange disease that is causing patients to shake and become weak in Central Province. Sitting in for Health Minister Suvia Masebo, Labour and Social Security Minister Brenda Tambatamba said the government is aware of the disease, that has affected 28 Southern Africa Fellow Alloys Limited SAFAO employees who are currently under assessment at the University Teaching Hospital.
Blood samples were taken from 281 employees to determine the cause of what contributed to the problem. The results revealed that 271, which is 96.4% of the employees had blood levels of manganese above the normal, or had in the blood levels manganese above the normal level.
She disclosed that a joint investigation will be carried out to all manganese mines across the country.
Further, this same joint investigation team will extend the exercise to all manganese processing plants in order to ensure compliance in all, to all relevant laws. The joint inspection team will ensure that all non-compliant facilities are prosecuted and made to be compliant to the laws of to the protection of human health and environment.
She has since warned all manganese companies to put in place compliance measures to avoid being penalized.
May I also sound a warning, Madam Speaker, to all manganese processing plants in the country to put in place necessary measures to ensure that they are fully compliant to all relevant laws before the law enforcement wings visit them.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
There you have it. That was one of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. Acting Health Minister Brenda Tambatamba there responding when she was asked if at all government is aware of some lead poisoning of Alloys Limited employees, and they responded that government is aware and they are at the University Teaching Hospital where they are receiving treatment to try to establish how vast the problem has gone. And of course, it was estimated that the manganese levels in their blood or in their body was more than the normal, which means, of course, they have been poisoned. This is not the first group that is being poisoned in this particular incident. And the question that we're asking this morning is, what are we doing wrong as a country? In as much as we're allowing investors to come in this country and do what they're supposed to do, our authorities actually inspecting the quality of work. Zema, where are you? Because if that is an extent, Zema could have detected this particular manganese poisoning even before the situation got to where it is. So where are we having it wrong, and what is our problem as a country? So that is one of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. But remember, there is also something that is happening in our country that has left a lot of people talking. And this is the issue of the Lusaka-Ndola dual carriageway, which is, of course, a proposed PPP between the government of the Republic of Zambia and a named investor in this case. And we have seen quite a number of things, a number of talking. And today I saw some opposition political party leader, among them Harry Kalaba, Citizen First. We've seen Kasonde Mwenda, we've seen Chishala Kateka and others. This afternoon at 14 hours, they are joining forces to protest against the decision of government allowing that our toll gates between Lusaka and Ndola, resources that will be collected after this road is done for a period of 22 years, will actually go to the investor. This has been a topic of debate. A lot of people are debating this particular topic, but remember that we also have the National Association for Medium and Small-Scale Contractors in Zambia. What do they have to say on this particular issue? Knowing that they will be part of the group, if at all they will be part of the group that will also be involved in the construction of this road. So in studio this morning, I am joined by the National Association for Medium and Small-Scale Contractors Treasurer General, Mr. Musole Kaweza. I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly.
Yes, you pronounced it correctly.
That's good. Okay, Mr. Kaweza, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, thank you.
It's good to have you in studio this morning.
Thank you very much.
To discuss this particular topic of interest,
yes.
A topic that has brought about a lot of debate, a topic that has actually left a lot of people talking
yes.
about what is happening in the country. As the National Association for Medium and Small-Scale Contractors, what is your take on this particular issue? So these are the things we will be discussing, but before we go further into our discussion, Maybe perhaps the viewer who's joining us for the first time, and I'm sure we are hosting you for the first time on the breakfast, so they would like to know who are you and what is your association all about. So you can begin by telling us the National Association for Medium and Small Scale Contractors. Who are you and what is your role?
Okay, the National Association for Medium and Small Scale Contractors, it's an association for the local contractors. We look at the interest of the Zambian contractors, Zambian citizens. We are a voice for the local contractors. We have to make sure that the business environment is level played for everyone.
That is interesting, Mr. Kaweza. So as the National Association for Medium and Small Scale Contractors, how many members do you have under your association? Actually, we have quite a large number of contractors. We have over 1,000 contractors registered. Wow. Yes. We have got offices in each and every province. Actually, we even have, we have structures. We are at the national level, provincial level, and the district level. Yes, so we are found in each and every province. What qualifies one person to be part of your association? Or what qualifies a particular group to be part of the National Association for Medium and Small Scale Contractors? Okay, you just have to be a Zambian citizen, have a registered business, and apply for membership, that's all. You just have to be a local contractor. It's as simple as that. And our membership fee is only at 500 kwacha. Yes, that is all. Okay. Yes. Quite interesting there. We thought maybe you need millions for you to be part of this association. No. You don't need millions. Okay. That's why actually we are there to make sure that every Zambian benefit from the construction industry. Yes, it's not a business for the rich people, no. Yes, the only thing you have is to have, we've got other contractors just business-minded. And of course, nowadays, we've got the National Council for Construction. The only thing you need is just pay a minimum fee and you'll be trained even only for a week so that you have the insight of how to go about in the construction industry. Yes. Interesting there. In case you are just tuning in to Camnet TV, this is the Breakfast Show, a show that comes to your screen every morning from 07 hours to 9 hours, where we discuss a lot of important aspects happening in the country. And today, Friday specifically, we look at the business sector of what is happening around. But we all know the biggest elephant in the room right now is the discussion regarding the Ndola, pardon me, the Ndola-Lusaka dual carriageway, which has brought about a lot of talking. So this morning we thought maybe we should invite part of the people who will be taking part in the construction of this road to come and speak about some of the things they've also observed. And remember, we have some political opposition part leaders who will this afternoon protest against a decision taken by the government. Small and Medium Scale Contractor Association. And of course, in studio, we are joined by Mr. Mosoli Kaweza, who's the treasurer for this association. And to begin our discussion, Mr. Kaweza, do you as an association support the step that government has taken to partner with the institution that will be undertaking this particular project? And of course, it is being undertaken at a projected cost price of 649,776,167 million United States dollars. This is quite a huge amount of money. When we say $1 million, I know a lot of people might be saying, that's not much. But if we convert that into kwacha, this is a lot of money. It's over billions, over 2 billion. Is it over 1.2 billion kwacha, pardon me, if we are to convert this into kwacha. So this is quite a good amount of resources. But do you as an association support government's step which they've taken to do the Lusaka Ndola dual carriageway? Actually, for us, the contractors, it's a blessing. So I'm surprised. It's unfortunate for the political parties. Fortunately for our association, we are non-partisan. So it's a blessing. You can imagine the $649 million you just mentioned. 20%
of that amount will go to the local contractors. That's almost about $115 million. If we convert that to kwacha, like you've said, it's a lot of money. We are expecting over 2.1 billion kwacha will go to the local contractors. It will come to us, the local contractors. And that will only be in these coming 3 years, because the project will be done in 3 years. And just imagine, in these 3 years, we have that blessing that our local contractors will be able to have such amounts, actually to be able to participate, to be able to get at least $115 million plus will go to the local contractors. And of course, you are aware that the project will go for 3 years, but the contract will go on. I think the investors will be collecting the tolls for the next 22 years after the project. What you're supposed to know is that they have said that they will be maintaining the project, actually the roads. The medium and small scale contractors, as the local contractors, are going to be benefiting again for the next 22 years after the project. Will be participating in the maintenance of this project. You can now, of course, you've been hearing most of our members are medium and small scale. Most of the Zambian contractors, most of us are medium and small scale contractors. There are very few contractors, very few large contractors you are going to find as contractors. So to us, this is a blessing. We are expected that most of us from this project are going to grow and will be large contractors. And later on in the future, they will be able to participate from the skills, because we know that we are going to benefit financially, technically. We'll be able to, there will be that trade with a large contractor who's going to be on site. So our people will be able to get that skill from them as well, so that in future our own contractors will be able to do such large projects. Yes.
Interesting there. So are you not concerned about the 22 years that this particular contractor will have to get money from the toll gates? I know this is where a lot of people are protesting to say 22 years is a lot of time, and that money could be going to government coffers, but instead it will be going to a private institution.
What actually, the other thing I think everyone's supposed to be looking at is that our government at the moment, it's financially, it's stressed. We are in huge debts. And we have this investor who comes in. Fortunately, our New Dawn government have thought about this idea to go in into a public-private partnership. They won't be investing their money. They won't be investing the money themselves, but they've gone into a PPP, and this money will be invested in a Zambian project. Zambians will benefit from these projects. Of course, we know about the safety issues. Zambians will be protected. We know about the issues of economic issues. Zambians are going to benefit. And if you look at it, of course, the period is long. If you look at it, 22 years, because if they say that 10 years, it will mean that the toll fees have to be increased, and this will be, again, I think this will be so much for the Zambian people. So definitely for them, of course, they've invested their money, and they have, because this is a business. We are into this as well. It's a business. We're all looking at profits. Even them, definitely, it's not a charitable organization. They're looking at profits. Then they have to, it's a 50-50 situation. Even the investors also have to get their money. And then they have to look, that's why the technical people came up with this issue of, with this period of 22 years, because it will be an issue whereby we won't feel that pain, whereby, let me just say, the toll gates, small vehicles are paying 20 kwacha. If they say maybe they have to get their money in 10 years, it means we'll be paying 40 kwacha, which means it will be too much. So I think the period is just okay. Yes, the period is just okay.
Interesting there. This is the views coming from the National Association for Medium and Small Scale Contractors, who of course are optimistic that the 20% subcontracting policy will be implemented on this particular initiative. Remember, it is mandated that 20% of big projects that are given to a contractor in Zambia have to go to our own local people, and these are the small and medium scale contractors. And of course, that's why we are discussing is the Lusaka and Dollar Do Carriageway project in favor of the Zambian people. And in studio, I am joined by Mr. Musole Kaweza, who's of course the treasurer for the National Association for Medium and Small Scale Contractors, who of course says that the deal is the best that government could have clinched, considering the fact that government currently has no resources to spend, and of course they can't go out there and borrow because the debt restructuring issue has not even yet been tabled. Mr. Kaweza, going forward, I think I have a call, but unfortunately I don't have my floor manager to pick up that call at a particular time, but we will be able to pick up that call as we continue with the conversation. And yeah, so Mr. Kaweza, pardon me for that interruption. When we look at the whole project scenario, we've got the 20% subcontracting policy, which government has to abide by. But what we saw in the past is that the 20% subcontracting policy was not actually being implemented on certain projects. And your organization was one of those that came out loud to condemn such kind of activities. What measures are you putting in place as an association to ensure that this 20%, this time around, the contractor will have to abide by this?
Actually, this time, what we've done, since we are blessed, we've got a listening government. The new Dawn government has given us an ear. We've requested for a meeting concerning specifically just for this project to make sure that the Zambians, citizen-owned companies, should benefit from this project.
Let me catch you just a little bit. I think we have a caller.
Hello.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
It's good to know you are tuned into Camnet TV. You are through to the program. Tell us your name, where you are calling us from, and then you can go ahead with your contribution or submission. It's good to know Moses from Solwezi is tuned in this morning. Please, sir, go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, the project which is going to be carried out by the Chinese. That's a very encouraging to know that we're going to have this project being carried out by the Chinese. Because if the project is decided by government, there are a lot of issues which are coming. And especially the issue of corruption. But this time around, we're happy because the government is not putting any money on the table. The current contractor is going to borrow money from our local institutions. That's very good indeed. But again, in the same way, I would like to ask the question to the gentleman. Are we going to the believing that we are not able to specific that project? We don't want the technical ability to handle this project.
Okay, just repeat the question.
That now, this money with the Chinese institute, this project, the money will go out to China. And Zambia is not going to be benefiting from that money. So, that's what I wanted to know from the gentleman there. Are we admitting that we don't have the capacity?
Okay, I hear the question.
From our previous project party, we have seen that some projects which have been executed locally, the roads have been washed away. The thickness of the road is very compromised. The material composition of that bitumen was compromised. So now, are we admitted? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much there. You've got a question from Moses from Solwezi.
Yes.
To say, are you admitting that we, the local people, do not have the capacity to undertake such kind of project? He says it is good to know that it is actually a Chinese company that will be doing this, but he says, for you, do you think, do you admit that we don't have the capacity to actually undertake this project? And of course, he's talking about the issue of the fact that these resources will be borrowed locally, meaning when they pay back the loan, the money will be going to the local people, the local sector, unlike where it has to be taken to China. I think those are some of the concerns is raised. So do you agree to the fact that we don't have the capacity as a country to undertake such big kinds of projects?
Thank you very much, Moses. I agree. For now, we do not have the capacity. For now, I think we do not have a contractor, a Zambian contractor, able to carry out such a massive project. As we've said, we are learning and we are growing. And definitely in future, we are going to be able to carry out such projects ourselves. But for now, we are learning and we are growing. We'll be able to do such projects. And one of the other things I think he has said, which I'm agreeable to, our government doesn't have money. Our government is owing a lot of our members huge sums of money. You can imagine our government carrying out such projects. We end up in a lot of huge debts again. We would not be able to carry out, to finish such works. Of course, I'm sure you have heard instances where you've heard, oh, the Zambian contractor has run out of site, or we've left sites. We do not run out of sites. Most of the times you find that our members are owed money. And there's no way you can be on site when you don't have money.
You start a project, then suddenly as an institution, because you are a small and medium contractor, you run out of resources because government is not paying you.
Because you are not being paid by your client. So you cannot be on site without money. So at the end of the day, you end up demobilizing. Yes.
So how many of your members are being owed by actually the government? I know this aspect did come out the last time you had a meeting, I think some months some months ago, where you did mention that a number of local contractors are being owed by a lot of money by government. So how many of those your members are being owed, and how has it affected you as small scale contractors after being owed these huge sums of monies?
For us contractors, the finance is usually the big issue that brings us down. You find that most of the times you get money from these lending institutions, banks. Nowadays, even banks, if you go to a bank to ask for finance, if they know that you're in construction, it's a construction business, most of the times they will even reject. You may have issues of, you may have the collateral and the necessities the banks would need, but if they hear that it's construction, most of the times they would even avoid lending you money because of what has been happening in the past. We have a lot of members who have been owed a lot of money. We are still compiling. The past years actually have been very bad. We are still actually updating our database. Very soon, I think we'll be able to avail you our full detailed report on how much our members are being owed and how many members are being owed. But finance, without finance, we are not able to do anything. So it has really affected us. You find that many businesses have closed. A lot of properties, we've lost a lot of properties. Our members have lost a lot of properties. A lot of properties has been grabbed, and even in some instances, actually, you find like if you've heard stories that most of our members, some members have been committing suicides because of being owed. It has really been a stressing period for our members, and no wonder when we hear of such projects, which we are aware that finance is ready. The moment you push in your IPC, they check what you've done, certified, you are paid. No wonder we are very glad to have such projects. Yes. At
the briefing that you held earlier this week, I think it was on Monday, you did speak on your members along this road between Lusaka and Ndola, some of the contractors, the small and medium contractors who are here, yes, to prepare themselves to be part of these projects. How are you equipping your members to ensure that when they are given the 20% subcontracting policy, they do standard works? Not a situation where the subcontractor does schedule works, which affects even the main contractor. So how are you preparing your members to ensure that they are ready for such kind of a big project?
Actually, most of our members are trained, and we are still advising them to go through training. We are blessed with the National Council for Construction. They have a construction school. They usually advertise, and at any time you are ready, you can go there, you'll be trained. There are different fields. You know, the construction sector is large. So there are different fields where the trainings are being undertaken. For our members, you know, when you're on site, if a project is ongoing, you have consultants. Before you undertake any project, any works, the consultants will make sure they will check the equipment you have, the materials you have procured. While you are undertaking the same project, they will make sure that the mixing of your concrete, whether it's bitumen, any material you're working on, they will make sure that you're doing the right thing. Even for them now to issue an IPC for you to claim money, either from the government or from any institution, if they for the consultants to sign it, it means that the works are perfect. So even in many instances, unless maybe there are issues of corruption, and we are glad now everyone is talking against corruption. Even our association, we are talking against corruption. We are all against corruption. Usually, there are instances where you've heard of shoddy works. How do you pay someone who has done shoddy works? Where you hear that maybe you've done a road, then just the first rain season, the road is washed away. It means that most of the specifications were not being followed. And like I've said, usually have a contractor, a consultant, and a client. So as the contractor is doing the works, the consultant is inspecting and monitoring, making sure that you're doing the right thing before a certificate is issued. And that's what will be happening. So no works will be actually, no shoddy works will be undertaken. We'll make sure that our members will do the right thing. And we are having workshops. Actually, we are engaging most of the stakeholders also to have workshops, not only along the rail of line where we are going to have the project taken, even in other areas also, to sensitize our members about the issues of corruption. Because the corruption actually, usually it's the corruption that brings in the issues of shoddy works. Yes.
Interesting there. Let's talk about some of the benefits that this project comes with. I know a lot of people might be wondering to say, 25 years of collecting toll fees just for this road to be done, but they might not maybe really understand the benefit that comes with this particular project. So let's just break down some of the benefits that will come with this particular project being concluded. Okay.
As you are aware, if you look at our road now, it's not in a very good state. You'd find that just a short period, maybe from here to Chivombo, it it may even take you almost almost even 2 hours because of congestion. Some areas may be bad, but if the road is done, we'll be looking at the traveling times. It will be taking a very short period to be reaching in some areas. The traveling time also will be very good. If you look at the issues of businesses, those who be along the Lusaka, those living along the Lusaka dual road rehabilitation area, they would benefit from the heavy traffic that will come in. So there is a lot of business that will be in. And fortunately, even our members, actually, to be a blessing to them, because we usually advise our members to diversify from construction. You know, there are times you may be a year plus, 6 months plus without any business. So the moment you have business, you try to diversify, maybe in construction or any other business to make sure that you're financially stable. Yes.
Of course, this is a discussion that we are having this morning, but before we can continue, we are going to take a short break from the interview, but we will continue with our interview soon. This is just a short break. So we are discussing the Lusaka and Ndola dual carriageway. For those who are watching us, what do you think about this particular project? Will the local small medium contractors benefit from this particular topic? And of course, in studio, I am joined by Mr. Msole Kaweza, who is the Finance General for the National Association for Medium and Small Scale Contractors. And of course, he has agreed to the fact that this is a good deal that government has clinched. So right about now, we are going to take a short break. Please don't go away as we continue with our conversation this morning.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rainglow, your smart irrigation partner.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news, screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Television, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. This morning we are discussing the Lusaka and Dollar Dual Carriageway project. Association for Medium and Small Scale Contractors, Treasurer General Mr. Musole Kaweza, and of course we are having quite a wonderful discussion. It says for the local contractors, this might just be a breakthrough that they needed to one day become big contractors, because after undertaking such kind of a big project, they expect the skill to be transferred to the small and medium contractors, who will of course graduate to being local contractors so that they can be capable of undertaking such big projects in the future. So in as much as others have condemned the initiative, the small and medium contractors actually have called it a blessing, also considering the fact that the resources being financed for this particular project is coming from Workers' Compensation and Stanbic Bank to be the one to finance this particular project. In case you're wondering, what is this that this journalist is talking about, because it is a Chinese company that is being engaged. Yes, you are correct. It is a Chinese company being engaged, but they are borrowing money from the local market. The way it has been in the past, when China is given a project to undertake, they go to their own bank, borrow resources, and then do a project. And what happens is when government pays those resources, they are externalized, because it's not the Zambian money. The money goes back to China, where the Chinese company got the money from. But in this particular case, it's interesting because NAPSA is the one contributing 3 million, and then 1 million is coming from Workers' Compensation, and $2 million coming from Stanbic Bank. So these are the finances, and what will be happening is that the resources that will be collected from the toll gate will be going back to the lenders, in this case Stanbic, Workers' Compensation, and the National Pension Authority, NAPSA. So now getting back to you, sir, we've had concerns saying the money being involved in this particular case is money for pensioners. So how can they get all that amount of money for pensioners and invest in such kind of a project, which will take about 22 years to repay back that money? Do you, as an organization, support the fact that the resources being financed for this project is coming from pensioners' money, is coming from Workers' Compensation, and of course we have a bank involved in this particular case?
Yes, we do support, and you know, it's good actually, because the money is being invested in Zambia, like we've said, and you can imagine 3,000 youths, 3,000 plus youths are going to benefit. The money is going to the Zambians. It's from the Zambians, and it will be going back to the Zambians. And from that, there will even be an interest that will go back to the Zambians again. It will, like you've said, it won't be like in the past as it has been. You get money from the foreign countries, you pay back interest to the foreign countries. You know, this time it's Zambia for Zambians, and definitely it's not the first time, I believe, that NAPSA is investing in construction industry. We have the Levy Junction, we have the Building Society, we have a lot of projects actually which NAPSA has invested, and they are successful projects. And definitely this is a huge, this is a plus. This is a plus. It will benefit us, the local contractors, the youths out there, almost the marketeers along the row of line. We look at the safety for the people traveling on the road. It is a plus. It is a plus. And we pray that we'll have a lot of projects like this in the future.
In the future.
Yes, because definitely we'll be sure that no projects will be cancelled along the way. The projects will be flowing until they're completed, because they are financially funded fully.
Interesting there, 449,976,162 million United States dollars has been budgeted for this. This is in US dollars. In Kwacha, this is about 12 billion kwacha worth of resources.
Yes.
Do you think, if I look at the amount of money involved here, in as much as people are debating about getting money from the toll gates, remember between Lusaka and Ndola, we've got 3 toll gates.
Yes.
Between these 2.
Yes.
And I'm not really sure of how much money these toll gates make. But from these 3 toll gates, when we look at 12.8 billion kwacha, do you think it's possible to recover this money, or even in a period of 15 years? Looking at it's only 3 toll gates that have been involved in this case where they'll be getting money. But this amount of money, which people are calculating in US dollars, if you bring it down to the kwacha, it's about 12.8 billion kwacha worth of resources being invested in this particular project. But when I look at the amount of money involved and collecting from 3 toll gates, do you think even this maybe we will be able to recover these resources?
Yes, the money would be recovered. Of course, for the technocrats to come up with this period of time, it means that the monies will be recovered. And actually, at the moment, we have 3 toll gates, is it? Katuva, there's one
Kapiri,
in Kapiri.
And between Kapiri
yes,
and Ndola.
between Kapiri and Ndola. Then plus there will be 2 toll gates which will be constructed as well. By the way, as the scope of works is showing that there will be bypasses which will be done along Kawe and Kapiri. Yes, so those will also have the toll gates. So we are talking of 5 toll gates. Definitely money will be recovered. Yes.
Then of course there is the maintenance part which you talked about, to say over this particular period of 20 years, the same contractor who's been involved will be the one to maintain this road. So part of these resources will be going to maintaining the road also.
Yes. That's why we have said that when the technocrats sat down, they looked at the huge sums being talked about, and then they did their calculations. Definitely, that's why I'm saying that they say they came to an agreement to make it a 50-50, so that the road users are not stressed. There is no need to start increasing the toll gates. Yes, so they looked at the 22 years, because actually it's 25 inclusive of the 3 years, for the construction period. Yes, so definitely the monies would be recovered. Yes.
Maybe as we come to the dying end of our interview this morning, what message do you have for your fellow small and medium contractors out there who would like to take part in this particular project? As an association, what kind of word do you have for them?
For our members, I would like to urge them to make sure that they renew their licenses, renew your membership, and let's make sure that our guns are ready. Let's be on the ground. We are communicating. We are talking with our mother ministry, the Ministry of Infrastructure, and our able minister, Mr. Milupi, will make sure, as he has promised, that the medium and small scale contractors has to participate and will participate. So please let us ready our guns. Of course, you know, our licenses, that's our weapon. Let's make sure that we prepare our documents and be ready to go on the ground. Yes.
You did call for a meeting with the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Development to say you should go on the negotiating table to discuss this issue. Has the ministry given you a leeway to sit down and discuss with them? Actually,
yes, we are communicating with them, and there is a date which has been issued. Immediately we have that meeting, we are going to update you of the outcome of the meeting. Yes. During your press briefing earlier this week, you demanded a full disclosure from the Ministry of Infrastructure and from the Ministry of Finance on the relevant information, including conceptual designs and full scope of work. You also requested a BOQ rate proposal
proposed local and imported material, proposed schedule of work, proposed manpower and personnel, as well as other issues that the government needed to disclose. What's the importance of government disclosing this to you, the contractors, and to the local people? I know in the past this has not been the case. We just see a project has been given. We don't even know the scope of the work. We don't know the contractual agreement. So what would be the benefit of government ensuring that this information is made public to the Zambian people out there?
You know what has been happening in the past? You'd find like what the big contractors, large contractors would do. They would know that subcontracting is mandatory. So when they are doing their BOQs, when they are pricing the works, you find like they would know that maybe the culverts, the drainages, that will automatically, is a must to be given to the local contractors. So what they would do is they would make sure that there would be less money in those works.
Oh, I
yes,
see.
then they would put more money, they would quote more money where they are going to be doing the works themselves. Yes, so we want to make sure that we have all that information. As we are on the table with them, we have to make sure that we have a bigger share, and then even us, of course, like we have said, this is a business. We have to make sure that we come out with very good profits. Yes, so that, of course, as a contractor, after a project, a contractor is able to say that from this project, I've been able to buy this equipment, I've been able to do this, at least the company is growing. Yes, so we want to make sure that we don't want what has been happening in the past to happen again. You know, where, like I've said, whereby you're given works where there are less profits. We want to make sure that it's a 50-50 business deal. And we've been blessed, like we've said, the government is a listening government, the new Dawn is a listening government, and they have promised us a good deal. Yes.
Hata local contractors wapen ko fe tuma crumbles to report tuma sesi.
Even us, we want the lion's share. Yes, yes.
A fair share.
A fair share.
It's now or never.
It's now or never. Yes.
Interesting conversation there. This has been the interview for Friday, and we were looking at how much will the small and medium local contractors benefit from the Lusaka and Dollar dual carriageway project that will likely commence this year. And of course, it has been proposed at a figure of 649,976,167 million United States dollars. If you calculate that in kwacha, it's about 12,809,523,340 kwacha. So this is what has been proposed for this particular project. Those who are just wondering, in US dollar, it sounds as if it's small monies, but if we convert this in kwacha, 12.8 billion kwacha, this is quite a lot of money. And of course, 2 billion out of that is expected to go to the local contractors. Remember, there is a 20% subcontracting policy which stipulates that 20% of work should be given to the local contractors. These are the small and medium contractors. So 2 billion kwacha is a lot of money, and I know a lot of local contractors will graduate into big contractors after benefiting 12 billion kwacha from this particular project. That's about 118 million United States dollars going to the local contractors. So for them, they've actually called it a blessing. Just as my guest in studio was saying, it is a blessing for the small local contractors, and they're appealing to their members to renew their membership, and of course get your tools ready, because it is now or never. This is the time to shine. And it is also important to note that this particular money being gotten is being financed by NAPSA, Workers' Compensation, and Stanbic Bank. So what will be happening is that the money that will be gotten from the toll gates over this period of 22 years will have first to go to NAPSA, Workers' Compensation. This particular Chinese company will have to pay back the 6.4 billion. And interest, remember, there is an interest accumulating because it's a loan. Yes. So definitely there is an interest accumulating. And if you look at what is our repayment rate at a particular time, is it at 30% now?
Yes, somewhere around there.
30% interest. That's about an addition of 3 billion kwacha to this particular kind of money. It's a plus, it's a benefit actually to this company, to the country. You finance a project and then you get your return with about 3 billion more kwacha from that. So this has been your host, Prudence Chota. This morning, this is where we have to say our goodbyes. It breaks my heart to say goodbye, but we appreciate everyone who kept us company on our Facebook page, those watching us on different gadgets and platforms in the comfort of your home. We appreciate. Till next week, it's bye for now, and God bless you.